One of my viewers did mention that Dune sort of starts to get weirder and grosser and stranger as the series goes along, and this book really encompassed all of that. Hello everyone, I'm back. I finally crawled out of my little hidey hole, and I was in that little hidey hole for a number of reasons. I have a little bun in the oven cooking. Leon, baby boy, due end of July, and I'm not a very, let's just say I'm not a very happy pregnant person. Being pregnant affects me a lot. I had nausea for my entire pregnancy with Gabriel. With Leon, it seems that the nausea has eased up at about 5 months, so at about 22 weeks. I started to feel a little better, but it still comes on very strongly some days. I don't know if that's when he's having a growth spurt or not. And I thought that I would just do a quick casual video on my updates of the Dune series. So as you guys know, I started reading Dune last year and I managed to get through the first 2 books. Since then, I have finished Children of Dune and The God Emperor of Dune, and now I'm reading Heretics of Dune. So it's very difficult to read, as I said, having a small child, but the reason why it did take a lot longer to get through these 2 books than the first 2 initially was actually because I got really held up on this book. Yeah, we will get into this book. One of my viewers did mention that Dune sort of starts to get weirder and grosser and stranger as the series goes along, and this book really encompassed all of that. So the main thing that I've garnered reading this series so far is that it's a very cerebral experience, and I'm not getting too emotionally involved with anything. I don't know if that was Herbert's original intention, and with the kind of writer he is, and especially when you have the omnipresent point of view, I know that it can tend to be a little more detached, and it is also sci-fi and a very epic world, so the focus tends to be on that more than the characters. Since you're already here on, listening to my take on the 3rd and 4th book, I'm assuming you would have read the previous ones. It's sort of hard to do a review without the spoilers, but in the first one, we follow Paul, and in the second one as well, I believe. I don't know when it happens, but at some point we start following his children, Leto and Ganima, I think her name is, Ganima, and the characters just kind of roll in and out of this book so quickly that I just never get invested in anything that's happening. However, I love a cerebral experience. I love strange, I love weird, I love fantastic world building. So I am not personally a reader that needs to be super emotionally involved or attached to anything if all of those other elements are there. It's just so expansive and so drawn out in time that it's very, very difficult to get emotionally involved with any of the characters. Now, by the 4th book, things are getting really weird. I'm going to try and do my reviews on books without spoilers, so I won't get too far into it, but it's just very strange what happens with Leto and what he has become, and the descriptions of what he is and his form are really grotesque, and the things that are alluded to about his form or what he can or can't do in it are also very grotesque, and it was just strange. I found it very difficult to get through this book. I even only marked a few places in it, quotes that I really liked, because the book is mostly Leto talking to people. It's just different conversations with Leto between different people. And at first, the concepts that were brought into it, for example, the concept of equality and contentment and happiness in everyone, including the poor, leading to stasis of society, these sorts of ideas that Leto has about how society should run were very interesting and kept me drawn in and pulling myself through the book, because I just kept thinking wow, there's going to be some sort of huge revelation at the end of this book and it's going to tie all of this together. He talks about why armies of women are better, although when you break down his reasoning, it actually doesn't make a lot of sense. And there's a lot of like prattling on with just random words and sentences that seem profound that he states to other people that never really lead anywhere. And a lot of the other characters sort of catch on to that as well. But I have to say that because it got really slow kind of a little bit too towards the end of Children of Dune, but there was a kind of a big surprise. I was like, oh, okay, great. I never got that in this fourth book. And to be honest, I just personally didn't enjoy this book in the series because I felt it was almost pointless, and that a lot of the setup that was there, the concept and the themes and the ideas led to nothing. And it was just a very flat ending for me. The only way in which this book could become good for me is if, continuing on in the series, all of this nonsense that it just seemed like nonsense in this book makes sense in the grand scheme of things, because the future and the prescience that Leto had and the reasoning for why he was doing everything in the end kind of seemed like nothing and didn't make sense. So I'm continuing on with the series now. I'm already not pretty far, but I only started a day ago and I've read like over 100 pages of the next book. So I'm hoping, I am continuing it because no matter what, I will get through this series. It's a goal I want to check it off my list, so I'll be finishing it. But yeah, so far the next book in the series has already got me hooked because we're on different planets, experiencing different religions, experiencing kind of the aftermath of things. And I'm hoping that something gets explained. You know, it gets explained why this all just seemed so pointless and good for nothing, you know? Now let's take a little look at some of the passages or sentences that I've highlighted. They are young, and I have not convinced them that my way is better. It's very difficult convincing the young of anything. They're born knowing so much. I like this because it's that idea or concept that children born in their pure state also are unlimited. But so like, because they don't have any preset ideas or beliefs, they actually almost are more in tune with the truth and the ultimate knowledge. So I liked how that was portrayed, and that was something that Leto said to someone. The next I have, gods need take no responsibility for anything except Genesis. Gods accept everything and thus accept nothing. Gods must be identifiable yet remain anonymous. Gods do not need a spirit world. My spirits dwell within me, answerable to my slightest summons. Beware of the truth, gentle sister. Although much sought after, truth can be dangerous to the seeker. Myths and reassuring lies are much easier to find and believe. If you find a truth, even a temporary one, it can demand that you make painful changes. Conceal your truths within words. Natural ambiguity will protect you. And that's another thing that intrigues me about the Dune series, and at first I really liked, is kind of the neutrality it has on the view of God, good, evil, society overall. But I'm afraid now, after reading this book, that neutrality is going to lead nowhere. So it's almost like there's no point in good and evil. There's no meaning in it. That's kind of where it's heading. And I think if you want to be neutral about good and evil, then you need to at least sort of address the dysfunction that we have as humans that leads us to our own demise and our own destruction, and perhaps find a way to cure the human condition without God. So basically find a way to cure sin. That would make it meaningful in a sense, but I'm not sure that the series is going to go that way, and that's what's starting to worry me, because it just seems like he's talking about all of these concepts but not deriving any truth from it, if that makes sense. And let's see what else I have here. When I set out to lead humankind along my golden path, I promised them a lesson their bones would remember. I know a profound pattern which humans deny with their words, even while their actions affirm it. They seek security and quiet, the condition they call peace, even as they speak. They create seeds of turmoil and violence. If they find their quiet security, they squirm in it. How boring they find it. Look at them now. Look at what they do while I record these words. Another example of him addressing the human condition, Leto, but after finishing the book and hearing his plan for everything, it was never really fixed or addressed. So then why was any of that worth it? Why did he do any of that? That's kind of why I'm like, why did I read this? And then the last is, she led him from the command post into a chilly night, canopied with stars like stone-edged facets of shattered brilliance. I guess that was just a nice quote, nice piece of writing that I really liked. So thanks so much for being patient, guys. Since I'm a seasonal person, my videos probably will be more seasonal, although I would still try to make as many as I can. It's probably really just being pregnant that's completely slowed me down and made it so I just really couldn't get anything else done. I didn't have the bandwidth apart from taking care of my family. The next video should be coming soon about my thoughts in what comes next in this series. And there will also be a little springing into action writing vlog that will be coming up on the channel within the next few weeks. If you feel me on anything I've been talking about with Dune, or you kind of understand where I'm coming from, or you have a different perspective on anything, I'd love to hear your comments down below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.